In the quiet of my family's ranch, a place of peace and generations of memories, the sudden flash of police lights shattered everything. This wasn't just about my land. It was a desperate fight for my family's history against forces that wanted to take it all. The night was wonderful. I drove to my family's ranch in Pine Hollow. After a long week working in a warehouse, I needed quiet. This land had been in my family for 3 generations. My grandpa bought it in the 1960s, saving for 15 years from his steel factory job. He taught me to fish there, saying, "This land is our family's history, Evan. Never let anyone take what is truly yours." He always refused to sell, even for a lot of money. The ranch was my safe place, with a clear lake that reflected the stars. I set up my tent, made a fire, and was enjoying a cold beer when everything went wrong. An owl hooted, and I grabbed my flashlight. Then I saw police car lights. "Sir, step out of the tent with your hands up," Deputy Luke Carver's voice boomed. My heart raced as I unzipped the tent. Behind him stood neighbors from the Pine Hollow Homeowners Association, or HOA. Their president, Lydia Warwick, held her usual folder. She looked strict in her neat blue suit, her silver hair pulled back tightly. With her were Nate Powell, Clara Hayes, and 2 other board members, all wearing HOA pins. "Someone reported you on community property without permission," Luke said, sounding tired. I couldn't believe it. "This is my property," I replied, reaching for my ID. "My grandfather registered it years ago. I have the papers." Luke sighed, clearly wanting to leave. "Just try to work it out with the HOA, okay?" Lydia stepped forward, her voice sharp. "This lake is community property, according to papers filed by Harold Vance, our old treasurer. Your ownership papers don't matter to our rules, Mr. Harford." She said my name wrong on purpose. Clara Hayes quietly mentioned Vance left town after some problem, but Lydia silenced her with a look. The argument quickly worsened. Lydia waved her folder, claiming HOA rules were more important than county records. She said they had held community events at the lake for months, charging fees that went into the HOA's funds. The idea that they were making money from my family's land while I worked 60 hours a week made my head spin. I saw a new HOA sign placed suspiciously near my property line. As I packed up my tent, the unfairness burned. I was 35, being kicked off land filled with childhood memories. Luke avoided my eyes but whispered to Lydia about not pushing too hard. She waved him away, her eyes showing satisfaction. Other residents looked uncomfortable, some recording, others looking away. I drove back to my ranch house in silence. In the old barn, I found my grandfather's papers. I discovered a letter from the HOA, 5 years old, asking him to give the lake to the community. His answer was a firm no, with copies of the land deed and survey maps. The dates didn't match Lydia's claims. Something bigger was happening. As I sorted papers, my phone buzzed with a text. "Check your barn tomorrow morning. LW." My blood ran cold. I went back outside. By my lake, a bonfire burned brightly with Lydia's folder untouched beside it. A week passed, and I prepared for a fight. The Pine Hollow HOA offices were on Maple Street, with a perfectly neat lawn showing their control. I walked in, carrying my own folder. The meeting room went quiet. It was set up like a courtroom, with a board on a raised platform and a single chair for me. Behind Lydia was a wall of her achievements, and a map of the neighborhood with my ranch circled 3 times in red. Lydia started before I even sat down. "Mr. Harford, the troublemaker, has decided to favor us with his presence," she announced, mispronouncing my name again. The room felt unfriendly. Nate Powell, a new resident, aggressively stood up. "You don't belong here, Harper. This meeting is only for members." Other board members shifted uncomfortably. I spread my papers on the table. "These are the original property records, including the 1968 survey. They clearly show the lake is on my land. Any papers from Harold Vance are fake or wrong." Lydia laughed sharply. "Your grandfather's old papers mean nothing compared to community needs. Our lawyer says we have the right to use it." She waved an official-looking paper. Then, Sophia Bennett, a 29-year-old freelance marketer, whispered to me. I had seen her secretly recording. My mom was forced to sell her house because of fake HOA problems. She said, "Lydia has been collecting thousands from events at your lake, money that's not in the HOA's public reports. I'm recording everything for my video blog." The truth hit me. This wasn't just about control. It was about money. Lydia was using my family's lake to get rich. I stood up, my voice loud. "So you've been entering my property and making money from it? That's not just wrong. It's a crime! The room erupted, with Nate shouting about community rights. Clara Hayes looked very troubled. Lydia's answer was quick and cruel. The next day, Lydia's lawyer sent a letter, threatening to sue me if I didn't stop bothering the HOA. They demanded I give them the lake, or pay 50 in back fees for using my own property. I laughed, furious at the ridiculous amount. My boss at the logistics company got strange calls, asking about my reliability, clearly an attempt to pressure me through my job. Sophia and I met to plan. She showed me clips from her HOA horror diary video blog, including Lydia misnaming me and lying about lake ownership. She almost caught me recording once. Sophia said, I had to quickly switch apps. We agreed she'd get inside info and I'd find legal papers. I noticed the surveyor's marks on my map didn't match the lake's current markers, proving my suspicion they had been moved. Pressure grew. Neighbors avoided me. Someone left notes on my truck calling me selfish. My work voicemail filled with hang-ups and heavy breathing. Even my regular coffee shop had machine problems when I showed up. This constant mental attack aimed to break me down. But I saw weaknesses in Lydia's support. Clara Hayes approached me, admitting she'd never seen the Vance documents and doubted Lydia. Some board members seemed worried. I studied property law, learning about terms like adverse possession. That evening, I checked my fence line against my grandpa's old map. The markers were 20 feet onto my land. As I took pictures, a truck roared by, someone yelling, "This lake belongs to us now, Harper! Give it up!" The war was getting bigger. The surveyor I hired cost a week's pay, but it was worth it. He confirmed the markers were moved recently. Your actual property line goes 30 feet beyond these new markers, he said, giving me an official report for court. Lydia made her campaign bigger, holding community appreciation events at my lake every weekend. They had a banner, Pine Hollow HOA Lake, and Evan Harper not welcome. They wanted to provoke me. Residents took pictures with hashtags like, Our Beautiful Community Lake, while Nate Powell livestreamed everyone nearby. They even had a donation box for lake maintenance, but I knew where that money truly went. A torn fabric piece on my damaged fence, matching Lydia's windbreaker logo, was proof. That afternoon, Walter Grayson, a 70-year-old neighbor, drove up in his old truck. He slowly got out, pulling old papers and maps from a pizza box. Your grandpa and I fished every Sunday for 20 years, he chuckled. He saved my life once. I've been waiting to return the favor. Walter had amazing information. 20 years ago, the county tried to claim his creek access was public, even making up a health scare. But Walter had a law degree from night school after Vietnam. They thought I was a dumb farmer, he said. He had successfully fought them, keeping papers that proved their history of false claims. Land is like fish, he grinned. Slippery if you don't hold it tight. Your grandpa knew that, which is why he had me witness all his paperwork. He hinted he might find old files if needed. Sophia's investigation found more. Social media posts from 5 years ago showed Lydia at a seminar, Maximizing HOA Revenue Through Creative Asset Management. The seminar leader was later jailed for teaching illegal property grabs. Photos showed Lydia taking many notes. She's been planning this for years, Sophia said. We also learned Luke Carver and Lydia went to high school together, explaining his reluctance. The community meeting was a masterclass in trickery. Lydia presented her evidence photos of lake events from the last 3 years. She didn't say these happened after my grandfather died, when I wasn't around much. She made me look like an absent landowner stealing from the community. Many believed her. Nate led a group demanding I be banned. Cracks appeared when Clara Hayes asked to see the original Vance documents. Lydia claimed they were in a safe place. When someone asked about the lake event money not being in HOA reports, she changed the subject to separate accounting. I quietly recorded everything, letting her dig her own grave. Sophia filmed it all, including Lydia's panic when the county was mentioned. To assert my rights, I camped at the lake again that night. Walter parked nearby as a witness, and Sophia monitored social media. Around 11 p.m., 3 trucks arrived. A work crew began putting up a permanent fence around their lake. The workers seemed nervous. Boss said this was legal, but the foreman paused, looking at my surveyor's report. Another worker put down his tools. My dad lost his farm to the government. This isn't right. They saw the truth in my eyes. When I showed my surveyor's report, the foreman backed off. The lady at the HOA said this was legal, but I don't want trouble, he muttered, packing up despite Nate's protests. Walter pulled me aside. That foreman is my nephew's friend. Lydia tried this with Henderson's Creek 5 years ago. They moved instead of fighting, but I kept copies. He handed me another folder. Emails between Lydia and builders about property grabs. Evidence piled up. Sophia's phone buzzed. Her video blog post about the confrontation went viral. Residents shared stories of Lydia's overreach. Then we heard a bang from across the lake. Headlights showed my fence posts loaded onto a truck, speeding away. At the next HOA meeting, I was ready for war. The room was packed. I spread old maps on the table. These documents from 1968 clearly show the lake is within my property, I began. Lydia cut me off. More old history from Mr. Harford. I have current official papers. She dramatically slapped a thick folder on the table. Her expert papers were fake. Wrong dates, a dead surveyor's license number. But her act convinced those who wanted to believe. Nate pounded the table. I suggest the HOA take legal action against Evan Harper. 2 board members immediately agreed. After the meeting, Deputy Luke Carver approached me. He looked nervous. Look, I'll talk to Lydia. Try to calm things down. Don't worry about this getting worse, okay? But his eyes showed fear and guilt. I wondered what power Lydia held over him. Sophia's hidden camera recording gave the answer. She had pretended to organize files in the HOA office. Remember, Luke, that DUI from years ago could still come out if you don't keep Harper in line. Lydia's voice was cold. Your kids don't need to know about their daddy's mistakes, do they? The recording also revealed her plan. The Harper Lake alone will make us $200,000 in event fees every year. Plus the Mitchell property has road access worth another $100,000. We've already forced out 6 families using small rule violations. It's amazing what a 5-0 fine for grass height can do to older people on fixed incomes. Her laugh was chilling. By next year, we'll control every water access in Pine Hollow. The board thinks it's for community improvement. The idiots. They'll sign anything. She spoke of bribed county contacts and judges. Luke whispered, This is wrong, Lydia. She sneered. You're too involved now, deputy. I tried camping at my lake again. This time, strong barriers and private HOA property signs lined the shore. Security cameras blinked. A lavish party was underway. White tents, crystal lights, a champagne fountain, a string quartet. Lydia basked in praise for securing this beautiful place. She ignored me, loudly announcing, If anyone sees suspicious individuals, contact security. Her dismissal stung but strengthened my resolve. Sophia found a leaked HOA email chain. Board members were surprisingly honest. Clara Hayes wrote, I'm uncomfortable with how we're handling the Harper property. Where are these Vance documents? Another questioned sudden event money. The most damaging email, accidentally sent from Lydia's personal account, read, Once we control Harper's Lake, we move to Mitchell's Pond and Coleman's Creek. This is just the beginning. Pressure on my personal life increased. My boss mentioned concerns about my reliability. Clients were called about my legal problems. I wondered if the fight was worth risking everything. But my grandfather's legacy kept me going. That evening, Clara Hayes nervously knocked on my door. I'm sorry about the meeting, she whispered. Lydia's been aggressive since Vance disappeared with HOA funds 5 years ago. She blamed everyone, then started these plans to get the money back. Clara gave me a flash drive. Security footage from the night your fence was damaged. The footage was damning. Lydia's truck at 2 a.m. 2 people cutting fence posts, Lydia directing them. As I saved copies, my phone buzzed. Nice try, Harper, but you're playing in my sandbox now. Now lie. With a photo of the flash drive. They were watching. The game became more dangerous. An emergency community meeting was called to deal with the Evan Harper situation. The room was like a courtroom. Luke Carver stood stiffly, avoiding my gaze. The crowd was huge, many live streaming. Lydia sat proudly, smiling. Luke's testimony hit hard. Mr. Harper has been aggressive with HOA leadership, he said flatly. I've seen him make threatening gestures. I worry about things worsening. His false words caused doubt among some, but the damage was done. Nate Powell immediately demanded urgent action to secure the lake, for our children's safety, with a petition signed mostly by new residents who only knew Lydia's side. She presented photos, turning my attempts to protect my land into attacks on the community. When I tried to show my evidence, she cut me off. The board already reviewed your claims and found them without merit, she stated. After the meeting, I found Luke. You know this is wrong, I said. He leaned in nervously. She knows about my DUI 10 years ago. If it comes out, I lose my kids. I'm sorry, Evan. I tried to tell you to back off. He was trapped, another person Lydia used. Sophia and Walter had been busy. They drove to the county records office, using Walter's connections. They found original Vance files. The papers about my lake were fake, and Vance had been investigating Lydia for stealing HOA money before he disappeared. Her notes showed she'd taken funds for years, using the missing money as an excuse to grab properties. Harassment worsened. A for sale sign, spray-painted, "Leave now, Harford," appeared on my gate. My truck tires were slashed. Someone called my mother, saying I was involved in criminal activities. The mental attack wore me down. I wondered if fighting was worth it, but I remembered my grandfather. Giving up was not an option. Clara Hayes found me at the grocery store. "The county assessor has been looking around," she whispered. "Something's wrong with property transfers. Lydia is having secret meetings, and board members look scared. Some of us are asking questions. Half those people say they never signed the petition." This was Lydia's first real weakness. That night, I uploaded all my evidence online, making copies. Sophia helped organize everything, creating a timeline of Lydia's fraud. Walter called with urgent news. "Found something in my attic. Papers from your grandpa. You need to see these tomorrow." The evening ended with another confrontation at the lake. I found Lydia with a builder, planning a permanent structure. "Mr. Harford, still trespassing, I see," she said. "Once the restraining order goes through, you won't be able to come within 500 feet of HOA property." The builder looked uncomfortable. As I drove away, Luke pulled me over. "Lydia is pushing for criminal charges," he warned. "Trespassing, harassment, threats. She has the prosecutor's ear. She's planning something big for the lake tomorrow. Be careful." My phone lit up. "Tomorrow, everyone will see what happens to troublemakers. The lake is ours, Harper. Accept it." The something big was a fake environmental problem. I arrived at the lake to find Lydia with EPA officials, news crews, and half of Pine Hollow. She pointed dramatically at an oil slick. "Evan Harper has poisoned our community's water," she cried, tears flowing. "Our children swim here." The environmental team began tests. Lydia spoke to cameras, painting me as a destructive owner. Nate Powell led residents, blocking my way with signs. It was a show, very effective. Neutral residents now looked at me with anger. But Lydia made a mistake. The barrels of dirty stuff near shore had visible labels. Sophia zoomed in with her camera before security pushed her back. Later, we saw a logo matching Lydia's industrial cleaning company. The environmental team's first tests showed the contamination was fresh, less than 12 hours old, with a chemical signature not from my property. Walter's attic discovery was our weapon. He brought a county agreement from the 1970s. "It's a conservation easement," he explained. "Your grandfather was one of the first to sign this. It legally protects the lake and land from development forever. No HOA rules can override it. The lake could never be used for business or given to an organization without all original landowners' families agreeing." This sent Sophia into overdrive. She found 3 other Pine Hollow properties with similar protection, whose owners had been forced out by HOA harassment. Lydia targeted protected lands, planning to challenge these easements. Her emails mentioned a builder interested in the lake for millions. That evening, Walter and I watched the lake with hidden cameras. Around midnight, a truck arrived with lights off, moving toward the dirty area. Through night vision, we saw 2 people in hazmat suits load the barrels. One removed their hood to wipe sweat. Lydia's face. She was cleaning her crime scene. The county inspector who arrived next day was new, known for not taking bribes. He found the scene suspicious. "Fresh contamination? Disappearing barrels? This smells like fraud," he said. He found traces of industrial cleaner with traceable batch numbers. Lydia's calm broke. She tried to blame me, but her story fell apart when asked for purchase records. The big moment came at an emergency community meeting called by worried residents. I arrived with boxes of evidence, supported by Sophia, Walter, and Clara Hayes. I presented everything: the moved markers, fake documents, conservation easement, and the video of Lydia planting and removing contamination. The crowd's mood shifted from doubt to shock to anger. When I showed the email about selling lakefront property, someone shouted, "She's been tricking all of us!" Lydia was desperate. She accused me of faking evidence and being greedy, but her support crumbled. Board members distanced themselves. Nate Powell, realizing he'd been used, switched sides, offering to testify. Even Luke stepped forward, admitting Lydia blackmailed him. His confession lifted a huge weight. and people clapped for his courage. The meeting erupted. Residents demanded Lydia's resignation in a criminal investigation. I felt a mix of being right and being tired. The truth was out, but the damage to the community would take time to heal. Sophia live-streamed the entire confrontation. It spread beyond Pine Hollow. People shared similar HOA stories. The investigation showed Lydia's corruption. The contamination was just one of many tricks to grab valuable properties. She built a real estate empire by exploiting neighbors, using HOA power as her weapon. Police found plans for dozens more property grabs. The conservation easement saved not just my lake, but Pine Hollow's character. That night, I stood by my lake at sunset with Sophia. "We did it," she said. "Your grandfather would be proud." I felt his presence. But a feeling lingered. This wasn't over. Lydia had connections and a desire for revenge. My phone buzzed. "This isn't over, Harper. You've won a battle, not the war." The fight for my family's legacy would continue. But for tonight, I had won. A certified letter from the county arrived on Monday. My hands trembled. The county was starting eminent domain proceedings on my ranch, trying to take my land for public use, citing wrong land use and building rule violations. It mentioned HOA complaints from 3 years ago, Lydia's paperwork trail. A sick feeling told me I'd celebrated too soon. Even with Lydia investigated, her influence spread. I sank into my grandfather's old chair, defeated. All that fighting, all that evidence, and they still found a way. The ranch wasn't just property, it was 3 generations of memories. Sophia found me there. "We're not giving up," she said, though her hope seemed forced. The county's threat was real. Walter arrived that afternoon with an old box. "Been saving this for the right moment?" he said, eyes twinkling. "Your grandpa was smarter than people gave him credit for." He pulled out a paper that shocked me. A perpetual land conservation contract signed in 1972. "This locks your land up tighter than a drum," Walter explained. "No government group can force you to sell or build on it without breaking federal conservation law. Your grandpa paid extra to make it super strong. After watching the county steal the Johnson family's farm, the document was powerful. My grandfather had ensured the lake and ranch were protected forever from forced sale or building, with penalties for any group that tried to break it. "Why didn't you mention this before?" I asked. Walter shrugged. "You needed to fight your own battle first. This was the biggest weapon. Now seemed the right time." The courthouse was packed for Lydia's first hearing. She sat at the defendant's table, her HOA folder gone. Witness after witness exposed her schemes, targeting properties for development, using HOA rules, taking money from builders. The prosecutor showed proof of fake documents, theft, and phone fraud. The most damaging testimony came from an unexpected witness, Harold Vance, the missing treasurer. He hadn't stolen money. Lydia had framed him when he discovered her embezzlement, forcing him to disappear. He had been building a case against her for 5 years, working with federal investigators. "Lydia Warwick destroyed my life," he stated, showing boxes of evidence, including recordings of Lydia planning to steal my lake. Lydia's calm broke. As more evidence mounted, she confessed, trying to shift blame. She exposed a network of corrupt officials she bribed, including the county administrator who signed the eminent domain letter. "Harper's Ranch was the most valuable prize," she admitted, her voice cracking. 50 acres of lakefront property worth millions. "I'd pre-sold it for a 10% commission." Her confession led to a federal investigation that would change Pine Hollow's government. The judge's decision was swift. Lydia faced 25 years in prison for racketeering, fraud, and conspiracy. The HOA was dissolved, and its money returned to homeowners. The judge spoke about the conservation contract Walter gave him. "This document shows foresight protecting family history," he stated. "Any attempt to break it is a federal crime. Mr. Harper's property is protected forever." As Lydia was led away in handcuffs, she glared at me, pure hatred mixed with defeat. Her empire, built on lies, had fallen apart. Luke Carver approached me as the courtroom emptied, finally free. "I'm sorry for everything," he said quietly. "I'll testify in the federal case too. Time to clean house." His journey to make things right had just begun. The victory celebration at the lake that weekend was like a movie. Former HOA members brought food. Kids swam. Walter told stories about my grandfather. Clara Hayes brought a homemade apple pie with "sorry" written on it. Sophia live-streamed the event, reading comments from viewers worldwide. "Justice for Evan" became a rallying cry against abusive HOAs. I stood at my dock, where Grandpa taught me to fish. This lake belongs to everyone now, I announced to the crowd. My grandfather believed in sharing nature's beauty. But legally, officially, and forever, this land stays in the Harper family. The cheer probably reached Lydia's prison cell. Sophia set up a permanent webcam, showing the lake, a memorial to our fight. Viewers still watched the peaceful water. As the party ended, Sophia showed me her phone. Lydia had commented on the live stream from jail. That lake is an environmental hazard! This isn't over! It was buried under thousands of laughing emojis and sarcastic replies. Even in defeat, she couldn't let go. She'd have 25 years to think about it. The lake sparkled, finally free. The story should have ended there, but 2 weeks later, another letter arrived. From an HOA 3 towns over, we've been monitoring your situation with interest. We have concerns about your influence on our community standards. I laughed, really laughed. Some people never learn, but neither do I. I'd fought one HOA, and I'd do it again. The lake was safe, the ranch protected, and somewhere my grandfather was smiling. Sophia suggested turning our story into a documentary. 3 production companies reached out. My story touched millions facing similar bullying. I signed contracts, adding one rule. Profits would go to a legal fund for others fighting HOA corruption. Lydia accidentally created a movement, not the legacy she planned. Sometimes the best revenge is ensuring the villain's victims can win too. The documentary's final shot: me fishing on my dock at sunset. Water calm. No HOA signs. Walter's laughter echoing. Sophia's camera capturing it all, sharing our victory. Credits rolling over real footage of other homeowners winning, and at the end, small text. Lydia Warwick is serving year 1 of her 25-year sentence. She is not eligible for parole until 2047. The real ending was quiet. Sitting by the lake, a family of ducks swam by, just like my grandfather loved. The water was clear, the air peaceful. For the first time in months, I felt truly home. The HOA war was over. We'd won. We protected something worth fighting for, a legacy of standing up to bullies. That's a lesson for the next generation. So that's my story. How a midnight police visit turned into a federal investigation. How a corrupt HOA president ended up in prison. And how a simple man fought for his family's land and won. Has anything like this happened to you? Share your story below. Maybe yours will be the next viral video that changes everything. Because regular people can beat the system when they refuse to give up. And sometimes, the good guys really do win.